Gen friends, I'm Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Okay. I'm sure it was part of the Doha deal and I'm sure that the Americans had to leave. They left peacefully. There was no bloodshed and it was a peaceful takeover by the Taliban. But the fact of the matter is that the way they left, Pakistan doesn't have oil. Pakistan just has a lot of gas in the shape of Sheikh Rashid. But Pakistan doesn't have oil. Alright? But at that point, Gen friends, I'm Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Do like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now, a lot of controversy happening. UK on one side, India on the other, and the controversy is that is India pulling out of the trade deal? Is India stalling the trade deal? Now, yesterday there was news and Reuters reported this saying that, India doesn't want to go through with the trade deal, and they have sources which have said, sources within the Indian government who have said that they don't want to go ahead with this trade deal, and India is adamant that it will not go ahead with the trade deal. On the other hand, the Times of India reports that reports of stopping trade deal with UK baseless. Now, these are two different and absolutely opposite statements that have come out. And I'm going to analyze for you in simple words what this means. Essentially, what has happened is India is understandably upset. India is understandably upset with the UK for not taking a firm stand and firm action against these Khalistanis. You see, Khalistanis and Pakistanis, they haven't contributed anything to humanity. They are professional protesters. They protest for whoever gives them money. And this is exactly what the Pakistanis did after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. They threw stones, they damaged our High Commission in London, and they dirtied it. They threw rubbish all around there, and then Indians went and Indians cleaned that place. There is a word for all of you who do not understand Hindi or Sanskrit. There is a word called sanskar. Certain moral and ethical values that you grew up with. And obviously, both the Khalistanis and many Pakistanis, not all, but many Pakistanis are lacking in basic sanskar. You do not attack the embassy or high commission of another country. You don't do that. There are some fine lines that you do not cross. There is a red line that you do not cross. Obviously, for these two, there is no red line. And whatever you get paid for, they are honest criminals in that sense, Khalistani especially. Khalistanis are honest criminals. I mean, you give them a contract and they will fulfill that contract. It's that simple with Khalistanis. Now, what India has done is, and I think India has done it. Now, obviously, as I said before, there are contradictory voices. Some people say that India has stalled the trade talks, and some voices are saying that no, everything is okay, we're going through as planned. But India has passed a very strong message to the UK that it cannot be business as usual. You can't have most of the people who are there, in fact, 99% of them are UK citizens. And it does not even matter whether they're UK citizens or not. From the space or the particular piece of ground from which they're attacking the Indian High Commission is UK. And the ground that is being attacked is sovereign Indian territory. As I mentioned before, every embassy, every High Commission of India across the world is sovereign Indian territory. Similarly, the UK High Commission in New Delhi is sovereign English territory. It is not Indian land. That is the way it is supposed to be. So how can you say that it's all right? How can you say that freedom of expression and the freedom of action in England allows you to attack some other embassy? And India is understandably upset, and I would support the government if the government put this trade deal on hold here. Because a strong message needs to be passed. In fact, to the rest of the world, whether it's the United States or anybody else, a strong message needs to be passed. It cannot be business as usual. You can't threaten India and get away with it. There have to be, there has to be some sort of an idea of cost and consequences. You attack India, you'll have to pay a very steep price. And this is what I'm trying to convey, my dear viewers, to you, that there has to be this concept of cost and consequences. Now, whether India has done it or not, I don't know. But I would support India if it did that. Every strong country does that. You try to do anything against the United States of America, there will be an instant retaliation. Try anything against Russia or China or even France. The English, I don't know, for some reason for the past 75 years, they become wimps. They don't have that backbone any longer. But the fact of the matter is that any self-respecting country would retaliate. And if India retaliates, I'll be extremely happy. I mean, all right, we don't have the trade deal today. We are the fifth largest economy. And without that trade deal, we can become the third largest economy in the world. We are ahead of England. Why do we need that trade deal with England? Of course, it will benefit India. Nobody's saying it will not benefit India. Of course, it will benefit India. But the fact of the matter is, you can't seek benefit. You can't seek economic benefit at the cost of your sovereignty and at the cost of national self-respect. That cannot be allowed. And this is exactly what England is actually hoping for, which India will never allow. Now, Macron, the president of France is, he made this very interesting comment, and I'd like to analyze it for you. He says that Europe must reduce its dependency on the United States and avoid getting dragged into a confrontation between China and the US over Taiwan. And he came back from a 3-day state visit to China. So obviously the Chinese have been whispering into President Macron's ears. But what Macron is saying is not exactly wrong, you see. For too long, after the Second World War, actually, after 1945, Europe has been pretty much wagging its tail and following America wherever America goes, Whatever America says. Today, NATO is nothing but the United States of America, right? The IMF, the World Bank, is nothing but the United States of America. These are extensions of the US. This is US power projection. Hard and soft both. NATO hard and otherwise soft. So, US pretty much controls the United Nations. So, this interview he gave on a plane while coming back from China, and he was speaking to Politico and 2 French journalists, and he spent 6 hours with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, and he said that strategic autonomy for Europe, presumably led by France, to become a third superpower. Now, strategic autonomy is something that India is actually practicing for a very long time. Macron speaks about strategic autonomy. I'll tell you what China's game is, and I'll tell you what Europe's game is and what the American game is, right? When you say strategic autonomy, what China seeks to do is separate Europe from the United States of America, thus trying to halve America's strength. China is playing upon the fact that you are sovereign. You are not mere shadows or lapdogs of the United States of America. This is China telling this to President Macron for the entire Europe. Now, strategic autonomy, this is something that China admires a lot in India also. The Chinese people have so many times commented on their own social media networks that this is what we admire about India. Now, it is not just about India with China. India has been autonomous as far as its sovereignty is concerned, strategic autonomy. It's been autonomous with Russia, with America, with the entire world. So this is not just against China, but what China wants is separate Europe and the United States. And it may not be a bad idea, because I think with the de-dollarization that is happening in the world, with the way the Americans exited from Afghanistan, okay, I'm sure it was part of the Doha deal, and I'm sure that the Americans had to leave. They left peacefully. There was no bloodshed, and it was a peaceful takeover by the Taliban. But the fact of the matter is that the way they left was very, very shameful. Yeah. They shouldn't have left like that. Anyway, America's stock in the world is falling today. And there will be people seeking to take advantage. China is one such power that seeks to take advantage of America's imminent downfall. Because America doesn't have much of a choice, Biden or Trump. That's not a choice. Obama, yes. Ronald Reagan, yes. Bill Clinton, yes. But not Trump or Biden. That's hardly a choice. So Americans are caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Not looking very strong in front of the world, and China snapping at their heels. And this is China, and this is what, over a period of 6 hours, this is exactly what Xi Jinping must have told Macron. We respect you, we respect the Europeans, but don't go chasing the Americans everywhere. You have your own identity, you have your own individuality. This is what they must have whispered into Macron's ears, and this is exactly what Macron said. Strategic autonomy. This sounds so familiar because India has been doing it forever and ever. All right, and Amit Shah, Home Minister of India, lands in Arunachal Pradesh and says nobody can take our land. Obviously, the Chinese were upset, and the Chinese said, no, he should not have come to Arunachal, because Arunachal is actually not Arunachal. It is South Tibet. And Tamil Nadu is South Tibet. And what? Kashmir is North Tibet. I don't know what. I'm speaking Mandarin, all right? So Chinese claim every territory. Chinese claim Arunachal Pradesh, they claim Ladakh, they claim Vladivostok, they claim every country on earth. So now the thing is that Mr. Amit Shah going to Arunachal was a clear signal to China that this is our sovereign territory. And I would request the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, also to go to Arunachal Pradesh to pass a clear message to China. This is our territory. And come what may, China does not get an inch of our territory, right? We'll fight for it if we have to. We don't want to, but if we have to, we will fight for our land. This is interesting news and again relates to China. Telecom authorities block 120 sender IDs for bulk messaging over China link. So they say that as many as 120 headers operated by a group linked to a Chinese entity were blocked by telecom authorities in the past 2 months based on information provided by the Union Home Ministry. Headers are used by banks, marketing companies, utility providers, and even government offices to send bulk text SMSs. I'm sure all of you, especially in India, I don't know what's the scene outside of India, but in India, at least you get these bulk messages, you know, buy this, buy that, this real estate, this property, this new electronic item, this mobile phone, go for a holiday here. People and government also, you know, this program of the government, especially during the COVID time, we saw a lot of SMSs coming our way. Go and get yourself, vaccinated, and is your first vaccination over? Now go and get the second one and go and get your booster dose and apply for your certificate, and here is the link. So all these things are headers, you know, bulk SMSing. Now this bulk SMS thing, you know, they said the header of West Bengal State Electricity Distribution was compromised and taken over by a Chinese host. So what they did was that West Bengal State Electricity Distribution, it was hacked and the Chinese took control of it. So much of data, you know, millions of people using it, that data was compromised and a Chinese group took over the data, and the headers were misused to dupe customers who received messages pertaining to outstanding electricity bills. So what they would do is, the Chinese, obviously being Chinese, they would make money of the Indians, send them links saying that, you know, your electricity bill is pending, and if you do not pay in time, your connection will be disconnected, or your home will be disconnected. You'll not get any electricity because you have not paid. Obviously, that guy is paid, and they say that in case you have paid, go to this link and click. So when you go on that link and click, I think you get an OTP or something. You put the OTP, and then your bank account gets cleaned out. This is the Chinese scam which has been running, and so those 120 sender IDs or headers have been blocked by the government and the telecom authorities. Now, Pakistani courts, interestingly, impose 2.48 million fine on Chinese firm. What has happened is that civil judge Syed Mohammad Zahid Tarmizi, civil judge Syed Mohammad Zahid Tarmizi has imposed a fine of 2.48 million on $2.48 million on China National Petroleum Corporation for its alleged violation of contract it signed with Petroleum Exploration Private Limited, a local company. As per the details of the case, CNPC, the Chinese company, came to Pakistan in early 2001 as a service provider to exploration and production companies in the field of rigs and drilling. Pakistan during the first decade of 21st century was deemed a great potential for exploration and production companies and saw a great influx of foreign companies. Considering the need of time to get necessary head start, CNPC entered into an agreement with the local company to help procure drilling works for CNPC against a commission for each work procured. The local company petitioned before the court against the alleged violation of contract obligations. Essentially what happened, I'll tell you. Okay. So the civil judge, Syed Tarmizi, or whatever his name is, he imposed a fine of $2.48 million on a Chinese company which had come to Pakistan, because obviously there was some rumor that Pakistan is sitting on a sea of oil. Now, Pakistan doesn't have oil. Pakistan just has a lot of gas in the shape of Sheikh Rashid, but Pakistan doesn't have oil, all right? But at that point in time, everybody, including Imran Khan, he's speaking of 2001, and at 2001 there was no Imran Khan in power. But the fact of the matter is that Imran Khan repeated this lie, that there is a sea of oil and just ahead of Karachi there is so much of oil that, you know, we'll become the richest country on earth. The typical Pakistani propaganda. Every second year there is something that the Pakistanis find, then don't find. Find, unfind, refind, all that happens in Pakistan, okay? So Pakistan has a deposit of diamonds. Pakistan has deposits of gold. Pakistan has no deposit, as I said, except for hot gas in the shape of Sheikh Rashid. There is no other deposit in Pakistan. Anyway, This Chinese company came and they signed a contract with a local Pakistani company, and obviously there was no oil. And the Chinese company did not pay, but the Pakistani company said that no, we had to get your license, so we got your license, and etc. etc. So they filed a case against the Chinese, and now the judge has awarded some sort of a monetary compensation. They fined the Chinese companies, and that money will probably be given to the Pakistani company. Now, this is the only way Pakistan is going to get dollars. Yeah, this is the only way Pakistan is going to get dollars. You file cases against your friends, and you find your own friends, and higher than the Himalayas and sweeter than honey, till the time you actually, and serves the Chinese right for going into Pakistan and trying to find oil. I mean, who does that here? But the Chinese apparently did, and Chinese found nothing, and now they have to part after, I think, 23 years, they have to part with $2.48 million US. A small amount, but I think the direction of Pakistan is very clear. Pakistan to ship 230 containers of defense items to Ukraine in April. Now, there are two ships, MV Bokram and MV Kherson. Now, these ships are using US and European flags. These are Pakistani ships, and they're going to take Pakistani weapons to Ukraine. They go via Germany and Poland, okay? Use American and European flags on the ships. So they are identified as American and European ships. Then they go to Ukraine, they go to Poland. From there, the weapons which are supplied by Pakistan are shipped to Ukraine. So there are two things here. There are two scams running side by side. One, Pakistan is saying that we are great friends of Russia. Pakistan saying that, everything is going on well, and we want to take oil at cheap rates from Russia, and we want to take this and that from Russia. That is number one. This is Pakistan for you. And on the other hand, what Pakistan is doing is, they're not manufacturing tanks. They're not manufacturing weapons in Pakistan, which they'll sell to Ukraine, because they don't have the money to manufacture. What they are doing is, they're selling their own tanks, standing tanks of the Pakistan army. They're selling to Ukraine for a certain price, just painting it, painting it some other color, and hiding all those things that in Urdu they write on the tanks. They're just hiding that, and they're selling it to Ukraine. They're selling their own weapons, because that is the best Pakistan can hope for in the name of export. Yeah. There is nothing that Pakistan produces. All the factories have shut down, unless the Americans are giving them huge amounts of money, start production of tanks and sending, and then Pakistan is sending them to Ukraine. That I don't know about, but Pakistan has backstabbed every friend and ally. They backstabbed the Americans, they backstabbed the Taliban, they earlier backstabbed the Russians, they backstabbed the Saudis in case of the Houthis. They've backstabbed everybody, they've taken money from everybody, and whoever they took money from, they have betrayed their trust. And I'm not saying this from the point of view of emotion. I'd like you to go to the internet and search for these things. Yeah. Go to the internet, search for these things, and then tell me. And you can tell me, Major, you're telling you're lying or you're telling the truth. I encourage all of you, including my Pakistani friends who are watching this program probably, go to the internet and see what Pakistan has done. You've betrayed the Palestinians. Find out what is Black September. You'll find out how Pakistanis betrayed the Palestinians. They killed thousands upon thousands of Palestinians. The Pakistani army killed Palestinians. These people who claim to be brothers of Palestinians, that we will raise the voice of Palestinians against Israeli atrocities. Israelis have not even killed 1/10 of the Palestinians that Pakistan has managed to kill. And anyway, what the Israelis are doing is they're targeting terrorists. They're at least trying to target terrorists. At one time, Brigadier Ziaul Haq, who later on became the president and chief martial law administrator and chief of army staff and president and I don't know what not of Pakistan, he was the person who was posted in Jordan. He took money from the king of Jordan and he killed Palestinians. By some accounts, between 10 to 25,000 Palestinians were butchered and slaughtered by the Pakistan army. This Pakistan, great friend of the Palestinian people. So don't be surprised if Pakistan is now betraying Russia all over again. It is, part of their government's mindset. We are so clever, we are so sharp, nobody will find out. We'll make a fool out of everybody. That mindset. The Pakistani government. All right. Another thing, 4 dead, 22 injured in blasts targeting the police in Quetta. So 4 dead, 22 injured. And this is what is happening in Pakistan again and again. Pakistan is unable, it is absolutely unable to stop all these attacks that are happening, whether in Balochistan or in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or in other towns and cities across Pakistan. They are unable to stop it. I don't know whether it is intent or it is capability. I don't know what is the issue. Whether they do not intend to stop these or whether there is a capability issue, there is a financial issue, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that Pakistan does not seem to be able to stop all these terror attacks that are happening, and these terror attacks are happening every single day. In fact, I'm surprised the day there is no terror attack in Pakistan. This is the state of affairs towards our west. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of the Chanakya Dialogues English. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.